more freedom. I want to see it.
Today we got Mary with K2A. Mary, welcome to the Halo Heroes podcast. The reason why we want to have people like Mary on our podcast is we want to really support and acknowledge and spotlight the different people who are integral to the mission for the Halo app. And we have Taylor, the CEO and founder, and he'll be able to talk a lot more about the mission and the vision. But Mary, thank you so much for jumping on the show.
Absolutely. So thank you, Taylor, right? This is our work together. So I'm the founder and the CEO to kindness to one another.org. We go by K2A. So yeah, this has been an amazing journey with you, Taylor. So I know our podcast today is us kind of talking about our work. I'll really just give you kind of a quick backdrop as to what we do. We started in 2019 and excuse me, I came to a place in my life where I wanted off the merry-go-round ride. I wanted to do something meaningful for people. I wanted to help people. What I came to in that process is, what can I do that's impactful, right? That could really help. And it's a bill, right? So helping people pay for a bill is like giving somebody some food, right? It's that elementary, right? So, and it all just kind of tied into my life experience and everything that I've seen in my life, that struggle, right? People in the world were struggling and still are struggling, right? So making a difference for somebody, being able to support them with a bill, it is how we started, right? And it's just developed from there, right? We attached that work to kindness, because really that's what it is, right? You're being kind to people when you help them. And impactful kindness is paying the bill. So that's kind of the broad stroke as to how we started. When that work started, it was curious to me. I would go out and speak to CEOs and, small, mid-sized, large businesses, and I started to support them in their work, in their own work, in their for-profit work. And they're like, can I just hire you? And I'm like, no, I'm here to support your teams with a corporate kindness event. So there's so many different bubbles that kind of came out of the start of just random acts of kindness. So we started going in and saying, let's have a corporate kindness event where you, the owner, donate, and we divvy up that money and decide what bill we're going to pay for your teams, right? So there's just all of these different ways that we can take the work. So what I started to see was there's a need for people to understand how to be kind and what that looks like in your business, right? So I started my for-profit business, MDC3. So it's a consulting business. I literally started out being a business consultant. I did it for a year, and I absolutely could not stand the feeling in my stomach of going into a business and duplicating the work that I had always done, which was stepping over people financially to better the person at the top. And I was like, this is not working for me, right? Like, this is not what I'm about anymore. So I changed my business and I made it for the people. So I'm a people operations leader, right? I'm all about the people. So now when I go into your business, I'm talking to you about how you can treat your people differently to get the results that you've always wanted. Everything begins and starts, it starts and ends with people. So I figured, and I started to see results. If I can get to the CEO, I can help the whole business, because it's getting into the CEO's mind as to how things could be done differently, right? The CEO is a person, right? So I help people at this level, and everything in the middle, right? So my work has just become this ball, this yarn right? That just works together. And hence, here is our work, right? Taylor and I have been working on becoming a partnership since 2019, right? We just flipped the switch, right? So now K21A is the is the nonprofit arm in your for-profit business. And I'm in the business with you, supporting it, right? Helping it grow. So I'm doing all of me in our work.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't be more excited. I couldn't sleep last night. I was so excited for this launch today. I have to share this with you. And I know that we are on limited time and we could have many more podcasts and you could deep dive my brain all you want. But I need to share this with you. So I spoke to my sister last night and I was so excited. And I was just like, oh my God, this is what we're doing. This is where we're at. And she was so wise to say, she said, you know, Mary, what's old is new. And I said, huh? What are you talking about? And she said, God, do you remember Nani? And what Nani used to say about Joe? And I said, oh my God, she loved that man. That was the grocery store owner, no? And she said, yes. You want to know why? She said, Joe loaned people money. He had a community in the Italian, you know, the old Italian community where he owned the grocery store. His way of being was, oh, you buy groceries from me. You need money. I loan you money, right? You know, you can pay back, you know, we'll work it out. We'll figure it out. No big deal. You know, let me help you, right? And I was like, oh my God, Manny, you're right. What's old is new. So what we're doing is we're bringing back that community-centered space, right? It's the modern banking system, right, is what we're creating. So she went deeper with this conversation, and this is why I couldn't sleep. She said, Mare, the little Bank of Italy, right, was started by A.P. Giannini, right? It started out, it was called the Little Bank of Italy, where he would loan people out. He had a community. You're an immigrant, you're an Italian immigrant, you need money, you come to me, I'll give you a loan, right? $200 back then, they could buy a farm, right? So do you know who A.P. Giannini is? Bank of America.
Interesting. Huh.
Yes. In the 1800s, he started a community for Italian immigrants to offer them loans. That's how he started. It went from there as a community to the Little Bank of Italy. From the Little Bank of Italy, it became the Bank of America. So what's old is now new. We are bringing things back to basics. We are giving that space, community, right? So you can be a church, you can be a nonprofit, you can be a business, you can be a store manager, you can be a restaurant owner. You can have a community where you care for your people with loans from $100 up to $1,000. So I am so honored to be doing this. And this just ties in with everything that I have done and everything that Taylor has done. So we are the modern banking system for people. And I am thrilled.
Let's go. Let's go. Well, that's an amazing introduction from Mary Douglas, K21A. We got Taylor Simpson, CEO of the Halo app, and we'll dive into the launch today and the partnership and really what Mary was talking about, where so much of her mission has really developed and some pretty amazing things. And like Mary, I love the multiple different facets that K21A was already tackling. The culture around kindness and what does empathy really mean, helping someone who might need a little bit of cash in that moment so they don't fall deeper down into the wayside, because there is a domino effect of late fees, and then you got your bank account overcharges and all these different types of things. And so $400 could really help someone not hit more dominoes down. And so it really is amazing what you guys are doing, and I'm really excited to talk a lot more about the launch today. But But if we can, Mary, you've shared a little bit about your story with me, and obviously you can share it as much as you can, but could you peel back the curtains a little bit and tell us a little about how Mary developed a lot of, this passion that you have, and how you really developed this mission? Because, you mentioned you launched in 2019, you're based here in Indianapolis, but like not every single person just wakes up one day and says, I want to stop the 15 or 20 years or, over a decade of, successful corporate consulting that I was doing. And I want to make this pivot, this change to this nonprofit world. So can you peel back the curtains a little bit and kind of tell us how you got to that moment?
Yeah, absolutely. So you heard what I said about my nanny needing money, right? And that's my grandmother, right? So coming from that place and seeing that from a child, right? Growing up in that place, in that space where it was a struggle. I mean, my family struggled, right? There was war, right? Men would go to war and come back messed up in the head. So families would struggle, right? Finances, right? So yeah, so when a parent can't pay to have to provide food for their child, maybe a parent snaps, right? And all of a sudden they become abusive, right? So where did that come from? They didn't pop out angry and mean, right? It came from somewhere. And money is the catalyst for pain and happiness. It's a tool. It's a both side sword, right? So growing up in that world and just seeing people be so angry and upset because the utilities are going to be shut off. But so do you make a choice with your last $20 to go out and buy bread to feed people, or do you pay the electricity bill? So that was my childhood, right? And then, as I grew up and I started young, I started working young because I had to help.
Did you grow up in Italy or did you grow up in America?
Yeah, no. So I grew up in San Francisco. So in Little Italy in San Francisco.
Okay.
But my grandmother came from Italy, from Sicily. So, we grew up as kids with, my parents were working on a farm, right? And then my mother she was a nanny. That's what she did for a living. She took care of other people's kids. So not a lot of money to be had there, right? So all of us were working young. You got a paper route. You went and you cut people's grass. You picked up weeds. You did whatever you can do to help out the family. So that struggle has always been there, and I've always witnessed it. So when I got out into the world, working in the service sectors, all different arenas, and watching businesses, treat people. Here's an example. So I got to a place where I was leading people, I was hiring people. And this was the message that was said. We have a pay range. The pay range starts from here and it goes to here, but don't you dare bring anybody aboard at anything past this level. So do you know what I mean? So let's say it was $8 an hour to $15 an hour. You weren't allowed to bring anybody aboard past $9.50. That was the benchmark, when there was all this other money that could have been spent on people. And that's how I just, all of these things I filed away, and it didn't feel good. And it just didn't feel good. And there were so many years of it just not feeling good, and me knowing that we could be treating people differently. So to me, sitting across from somebody interviewing them to bring them on into the business, and them sharing with me that this is their third job. This is your third job, and I'm not going to even give you past minimum wage because I'm being told that I'm not supposed to. But yet there's this grace of, there's the scale. Why wouldn't I bring somebody aboard at the highest amount? Why wouldn't I do that for somebody who's coming to work for me? So I just got to a place where I wanted off that merry-go-round ride. If I couldn't affect the change the way that I knew it should be affected, then I was going to create it myself. And that's what I did.
So Taylor, obviously the partnership, and we'll get into why it's obvious, the partnership between K2NA and the Halo app makes sense, and how the technology that we have and all the experience that Taylor's been able to, or that Mary's been able to create over the last couple of years, why it really makes sense for K2NA to become the nonprofit arm of the Halo app. But Taylor, can you kind of talk a little bit how you met Mary and how like you guys just connected, and how things are coming to where they are now and how we're launching, and we got a new website with K2NA, the logo on it. We've got a donate button, which we'll talk a little about that here in a little bit, how people can support the mission. But yeah, can you just kind of shed some light on how you were able to meet Mary?
I'm pretty sure it was Josh, wasn't it? Wasn't it Josh?
That's Josh.
Okay, cool.
Josh the connector got us in contact. It was the first moment that we met. We knew there was like this collision that happened and that we had to be partners. I think it was immediate. I don't know how it was. Yeah, as soon as we met each other. I mean, it's so incredibly aligned to me. It was always incredibly aligned because for me, the lending, the loans that are happening on the platform is so surface level, and really understanding that, one of these loans can do things like truly, alleviate pain, and there's mental health crises that are happening that are real, and these kids are going to school, and if, there's mental health in the schools, there's also working, like to help and assist, like taking 8 hours out of a teenager's life to work and provide. I mean, there's just like a lot of deep rooted pain, and that's how we spoke.
Yeah.
And that's, kind of, seeing the work that you had already done, and just true acts.
We see the need,
Yeah,
right? We see the need, and you have provided a platform, right, for support, and it's called the Halo app. And kindness to one another is going to support the platform for the people who are struggling to pay back those loans. So just like going back to the community, Joe, the grocery store, from what we witnessed as children, when he was having a good month, he would just say nobody has to pay back a loan because his business was doing well, right? So we are doing that now in this day and age, right? So you provide the platform for the community, we provide the support, right? So it's hand in glove. We always knew that from the start, that we were hand in glove. It was just, how do we carve this out? How do we carve this out? How do we carve this out? What does this look like? Is this working? Oh my God, we got to do this, right? And just this week, my God, we've just put the glove on. And I'm so excited.
Today is officially launch day. We got new Halo app website. We announced a partnership with K2NA. It's awesome.
It is awesome. And I look forward to actually having more talks with you and sharing more things about really, let's drill down, right? Let's drill down the communities that we're helping. And we don't know what we don't know yet about the good that we're going to be doing. Like we've carved, right? We have carved like our guardrails, right? So you've got to start out with some guardrails, right? In a business way, right? So we've got these guardrails as to what we are going to start to do. But as this starts to grow, the heart bubbles will grow and the work will grow. And we don't even know the good that we're going to be able to do. And how that comes organically is going to be on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Right?
And so the Halo app, it obviously, as we know, people who are listening, it provides microloans to people, and hopefully gives them that financial leniency so they can take care of that utility bill or something and not fall deeper down the wayside. But as we know, someone might not be ready to pay that loan back, and so now they might have another loan on top of everything else in terms of debt and different payments. So Mary, that's where your team comes in. You guys are able to, we provide the data and we provide the users, or hey, like here's a group of people that we'd love for you to talk to. And that's where your team really steps in and you interview them and you talk to them about their life, right?
So we're going to start it out where we're going to be offering random acts of kindness. So we're going to take, right?
Random
We're
acts.
going to take a segment of people that we can see that are defaulting on a loan, right? But we can see that they're trying, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying, we're there, right? If and you know, let's see how it goes from there. But that's how we're starting. So you know, if we've identified 5 people who are behind by a few months, we're going to jump in. We're going to alleviate those 2 months of payments. Yeah, and maybe we're going to make a phone call and we're going to talk to you. We want to see what's going on, right? What's happening for you? How can we help? How can we listen? What can we do?
Yeah.
You know, maybe that person says, no, God, thank you so much for helping me on those 2 months. I just needed that little boost. I'm good to go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Or maybe it's, I'm drowning, right? I am so underwater. I just thank you. I'm so grateful that, we're going to see how we can support that person too. So those are the guardrails, right? Organically, what can happen? Yeah, I mean, we don't even know yet where we can go with this.
Yeah. That's awesome. So Taylor, what does launch day mean today?
Everything, making noise, get into some people's hands. It's always been about, I mean, you know how I feel. The ultimate impact. I've always felt this app can make the ultimate impact in people's lives. It requires a lot. This whole process of building this technology that people can use has been incredible for me in my life. But like now, we're ready. We've tested a lot of the things that we needed to test. We've seen it work at a small scale. So I think it's time to, I was saying yesterday, right? Like the nerves when the curtain's about to roll back and then the curtain rolls back and then, you present what you've been working on for all these years. So this is a culmination of work for people. This is, years of blood, sweat, and tears to build something that we truly believe will create change and change people's lives. When we say, borrower savings and backer opportunity, I mean, these are brand new things that have never existed before. This app has saved my life. I've been at some of my lowest financial points in building this, and I've received a halo from my community, and it's changed my life and saved my life and saved the business. So not only can our users speak to the app and the members and the communities that are already existing on the platform, but I believe we all have our halo moments. Mary brought up quite a few. That stuff matters. That statement of we're all the same, we've all been there. We should all understand we are sort of one. I mean, that's what we're building. And it does not feel like that today. Maybe it does for you, whoever's listening, but for me, this space does not feel like that. And it should be complete opposite. You should be able to come to where it feels safe. You should be able to get actual help, and you should be able to get continued help until you get on your feet and until you start running. And that's what I think this partnership and us together can do for the people. So that's what today means. I have no idea what's going to happen, but there's some really good energy brewing, and we're just going to share.
So the work that we're doing is good. That's it. It is good. It is good for the world, right? People resonate with people who do good, right? People want to be part of things where people are doing good, right? So this is important, right? This is important work. And no matter who you are, if you need a loan of $100 up to $1,000, if that's you, you really need some help, right?
And that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we've all been there.
We have all been there. If I can't even count on my hands how many people have been there for me. When I was living in my car, it was like, here's $500. Let's go get you a place to live. And that right there, I was able to get a job because I had a place to live. So doing something for somebody, it's important.
And specific, go ahead, Taylor.
And I was gonna say, and remembering the other side to, not just the app, but to life. You're not just a borrower, and on this platform, you are a backer, right? Like a lot of this community does not have that feeling that I'm a backer. A lot of our community has been borrowing, and so encouraging everyone to back a loan. And I've always believed that was the best feeling in the world. We did a campaign saying basically, it's probably better to be the person giving the gift, or that's probably the better feeling, to give a gift than to receive the gift. And being a backer feels that way. And we have backer testimonies that will say that it is one of the best places to earn a financial opportunity or a financial reward, but it feels gigantic. So the 0% loans feel just as good as the 5% loans, and we're creating true impact together. So if you start out as a backer, it's exciting, it's incredible. If you are a borrower, you are a backer, you are a hybrid, we can turn it, we can help you, become a backer permanently. I mean, that's what our system is built to do. So just excited to be able to provide both sides of this marketplace for people. I didn't feel welcome in the traditional stock market. I never, oh, you're not a real investor. I got that before anybody even coached me on being an investor. I mean, I almost got kicked out the club. So, I had $1,000 in savings at points in my life, and this would have been and will be, moving forward, my investment tool, just because it also feels different on that end. So welcoming in a brand new space of backers. We had a stat, or we ran a stat, which is shrink, but at some point, almost 60% of our backers were first-time investors, never invested before.
Wow.
Putting, a college student is our largest backer still to this day. It's just brand new statistics everywhere in finance. We're building brand new stuff, and I'm excited to even just share what we learned from people using it and what we're learning from communities.
Taylor, I appreciate you talking about the investment piece, because there are thousands of people who are investing in other people, investing in the tens of thousands of people on the app who are making those borrow requests. But over the years, there's some people who wanted to donate. There's some people who just wanted to, whether it's a company or an organization or some municipality, they've we just want to give the money, and because we know the money is going to be done for good. And so that's one of the reasons why the partnership today and the launch of today and the new website is really important, because there's now a donate button through an actual 501c nonprofit, which is where Mary and K2NA comes together. And so, I just want to mention, for anyone who's listening and they're hearing Mary's story and they're hearing the mission behind K2NA, and they're seeing how it makes sense for the partnership here, you can actually donate directly onto the website, thehaloapp.com, and that money will be facilitated through the 501c3 nonprofit, and they will take those funds and disperse them and help people with those defaulted loans, whether they're random acts of kindness or there's some interviews of different pieces and different elements within that. But that's kind of a really important piece that we just got to mention, is now there is a donating opportunity through an actual 501c3 nonprofit backed by years of mission and years of passion and years of experience. So that there's really no way that someone when they're hearing the mission behind what we're doing, there's no way that they can't help and get involved and join the mission.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
The time is now. Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? The time is absolutely now. I'm a music person, so I've had this a mixture of this bass drum and this timpani, just all day. I get this enormous fire when I feel a next chapter is coming, and that same thing of stuff to sleep. And I'm supercharged. Let's get some community signed up. We've had the best week ever in terms of, talking to people and community signups, and Give it to our friends.
Yes,
Let's
absolutely.
let's go be kind to people. I love
All
it.
right. Well, thank everyone for listening. This is the first episode of the Halo Hero podcast. We've got Mary Douglas of K2NA organization, but also now of the Halo app, because you can see in the picture behind the little banner right behind her, there is a partnership. There's two missions coming together to create a greater, bomb of positivity, if you will. So it's really exciting. So today, go to the web, go on Google or, wherever your browser is, the haloapp.com. You can look at the giving section. There's just 3 different tabs. It's very simple and clean. By the way, also, if you're listening, let us know how you like the website. If you have feedback, if you're maybe having issues, if you have any thoughts or different things, or if you just want to say, hey, the website looks great, let us know. As Taylor mentioned, we're having conversations with people all the time, every day, even outside of typical work hours, because that's why we exist, is to help people and be a part of other people's lives. So we want to hear your feedback. We want to hear your thoughts. And especially if you're not already in the Halo app, whether you're requesting for loans and you're what we call a borrower, or you're backing, please go to the App Store, whether you have an Android or an iPhone, download the Halo app, join the mission, join the cause. If you have any issues, we've got an amazing tech support team that they can help facilitate any tech issues or troubleshooting, what have you. But join us, join the mission by downloading the app and, take out your first loan request or back someone else's loan.
Yeah, I love it. Let's take care of people together. Let's do good in the world together. Thank you.